Let's talk about hair. It's not your average conversation. Welcome to a new season of Main Talk. I'm Deshawn Bullard, the host. Some may call me the hair coach, Dr. Deshawn, the hair messiah, but guess what? I am all of that. This season is all about Salon. So for those of you guys who are not familiar with Main Talk, it is not your ordinary conversations about hair, and you will see that this season. So let's get into it. The hair industry is crazy. People are talking about the salons. People are talking about the stylists. But this season, I have a new co-host, and I am excited. So this young lady walked into my hair clinic maybe about 10 years ago. I say she had on Smurf shoes. She came in, was working with a large radio station in the Atlanta area, and wanted to find out more information about how Nuratress, a product she had read about, could advertise on her radio station. So since then, 10 years later, we've had a long decade lasting relationship where we just talk all the time about hair. And she's the perfect person to talk about hair with me this season, especially as it relates to the salon. So I'm going to introduce you guys to my new co-host this season, Ashley Shantae.
Hello, everybody. I am Ashley Shantae, co-host and producer of Main Talk. I am so excited to actually just finally do this, where I should say, thank you, Jesus. She finally did it. Mina Deshawn, that she finally listened to me. I've been telling Deshawn for years, like we need to, do a podcast. We met, like Deshawn said, 10 years ago. I think it was exactly 10 years ago that I met you, Deshawn. And interesting enough, I like that period of like that 2014 period was like such a pit stop for me in my career, and a low point, honestly, for me, that sometimes, when you have things in life, like you look back and you're like, oh, why did I even like go that direction? But I will say, out of all that I went through and the pit stop in my career, I think a lot of it had to do with meeting you, really. That a lot of that was the purpose. A little bit about me, guys. My background is in acting, professional acting. And then after that, I transferred over and transitioned more into being a producer, writer, and director. And that's what I've been doing for the last decade. And Deshawn and I have worked together a lot in that field as well. Deshawn has been featured in a few of the TV specials I've been blessed enough to produce and direct. And this show, honestly, we just inviting y'all to the like conversations we have on the phone all the time. I'm going to give the customer perspective. Deshawn obviously is the professional, the guru. I have called Deshawn darn near in tears or about to curse somebody out just about my hair and just all things. So Deshawn is somebody I admire a lot. And I'm really thankful to be doing this podcast with you. I also don't feel like you kind of bigged yourself up enough, Deshawn. Can you really give the people just a little bit more about why you are the hair messiah?
Okay, so I am a board certified licensed cosmetologist, have been for over 25 years. I'm a certified trichologist. I'm all things hair, literally. I have for over 25 years in hair restoration, hair recovery, hair thinning, hair loss, hair shedding, hair breakage, everything, alopecia, hair loss. I've seen so many women, have spoken with so many women in 25 years. I've been on Steve Harvey. I've been everywhere. So if you want to find out more about me, the easiest thing to do is to go to DeshawnBullard.com, and my whole bio, resume, TV shows I've been on, everything is there. But today we're going to get into the juice and the hot topic of our salon industry. Ashley, our Black salon industry, what is going on? Let's talk about the Black salon industry. My background is in IT. So I have a degree from Tuskegee University, and I worked in IT as a computer programmer for 7 years. But I always had this dream and passion to be a hairstylist. So what I did was I quit my job after working for 7 years, and I came into the beauty industry. So the difference was, back then, so we're talking about in the 90s, the difference was back then what I saw looked glamorous. I saw women going into the salon every week, getting their hair done. I saw the hairstylists, being proud and and things like that, and being able to offer the service. And so I wanted to jump out of my corporate career into the salon industry. But boy, when I jumped in, man, I jumped in with 2 feet. I mean, flat. I was wearing heels, but I came in flat, and there was a different viewpoint that I had once I came in. And from that point is when I felt like that God actually called me to the industry, like Moses, kind of like to be that beacon light, since my path to the beauty industry was different than most. You know, most people went to high school, beauty school, and then came into the industry, where, you know, I was high school, college, you know, then had to go back to beauty school, worked in corporate America. So I felt like that all of the things that I had gone through corporately, that I had learned in my educational career and experiences in college, that here I was bringing this to the industry to help those who were in the industry who did not have the experience, let them really see it as a business. You know, I kind of had this thought process, like when I got in, I think I wrote a book like in the late 90s, like, are you running a business or just doing hair? Like, what are we doing? What is going on? So that was back then, Ashley, you know, and fast forward to today with social media, Instagram,
Well,
Twitter,
that's
all
what
of
I
that.
was that's what I was gonna say, actually. When you and I met each other, you know, Instagram was in existence, but it certainly is not like the yellow pages of what it is now.
Right.
It totally wasn't. Interesting enough, when we you know, started Main Talk for WAOK back then, people even questioned, is there enough to talk about hair? And there was a lot to talk about then. I feel like there's even just so much more to talk about now, because we are going through, I feel like, a very low point. And to be just frank and honest, I do think IG has considerably contributed to the downfall of the professionalism of hair salons. I really do, because I think that is kind of, for most people of a certain age group, I'd say maybe millennial and under, certainly that's probably like the main place, that resource that people go to look for a stylist. And you know, just from things that I have personally experienced, but then also things that I read, things that we talk about, I feel like the bar is in hell right now for salons. And I wrote a little thing that because I wanted to just remember this and kind of talk about, just give y'all a state of the union, kind of just generally of where we are. These are things I've experienced, things I know other people are experiencing as well, things I've heard about. So yeah, it's 2024. This is the state of the union of the hair salon business. Okay. Hairstylists with extremely unprofessional and mean attitudes. Hairstylists are giving people a long list of rules and regulations before coming to their appointment. The good old days of actually getting your hair washed during your appointment are long gone. Not only do many stylists require you to come with your hair washed, they want it blow dry, straightened, and basically already done before you come to the appointment. The salon receptionist has been replaced by terribly insufficient booking apps. I won't name any names. There's many of them. Y'all know them, resulting in customers showing up for an appointment and the stylist already has someone else in the chair, or they're not there at all. And or if they are, they claim to have no record of your appointment after you've driven an hour plus sometimes. You are required to make a deposit to secure your appointment, and mostly it's non-refundable, even in the case of an extreme circumstance. Case in point, it's a storm where I am today.
Yes,
Schools are
too.
canceled, things are where you are as well, Deshaun. So if I had a hair appointment today, I certainly would have canceled. You are required to I said that already. Stylists will cancel your appointment or charge extra if you are more than 15 minutes late. However, will not subtract from the service fee when they are late. Many stylists are either working from home or a salon suite. However, some have strict rules for new clients, including not even sharing their address until the day before the appointment. Speaking of salon suites, some come with a strong aroma of unprofessionalism and a smell of weed. and the sounds of an abusive, insecure boyfriend who won't stop calling your stylist while she tries to service your hair. Dropping off your bundles to get colored, only to return to an MIA stylist who has taken off with your bundles, and now you have to travel back home defeated and bundleless. Speaking of travel, I've even heard of some customers have experienced traveling all the way out of state, actually booking a flight, a hotel, and renting a car, and the stylist cancels their appointment when they get there. And now you have to cancel your celebration plans and go to small claims court. No further arguments, Your Honor.
Listen, you know what? You have laid out a laundry list of things that are happening, but I want to go all the way back to the comment that you made about Instagram has created this opportunity for all of these bad hairstylists. What I want to say, or bad behavior in the salon, what I want to say is that there's always been bad behavior in the salon. When I came into the industry in the early 90s, it was always bad behavior. What Instagram did was gave a voice to those who should not really have been seen, right? So the problem is that now we have all of these stylists who have an opportunity to create a page to show their work. And so what people do is they rely on the work that they see. So you'll go on Instagram and see someone's hairstyle and you love it. And so you have a page full of hairstyles. You have never taken the time as a client to go visit the salon. You have never taken the time to get on the phone and speak to the person directly. We are in a society now that we just click, and then when you get click, it's like clickbait, right? You know, back in the day in the early 90s, we didn't really have that. You know, the people literally, the way I got clients back in the day was really through referrals. And yeah, we had the yellow pages, but maybe the yellow pages need to come back, because the yellow pages at least gave you a phone number to call someone that you could talk to. I really take offense to stylists on the online providing these type of negative services. But what I want to say is that you and I have had several conversations, and I want to put it back on the customer. I want to put it back on the customer. It is just like, even if you go somewhere blindly, you know, I would like to tell the customer, if you walk into a salon, so what? Okay, so you went on Instagram, you found a stylist that you like, you love all of her work, is bing, 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 bing. So then you pay your deposit, you follow all the rules, you get to the salon and it smells like weed. What do? Sit down? What do you do when you get there? And
my hair's standing on top of my head and I have to go to work tomorrow.
Well, then, you know, it is, you know, we teach people how to treat us. And I think that's what's happening. We have gotten, as Black women, we have gotten ourselves into this. So let me say, before I finish my statement, I know that our hair is that important to us, because if it wasn't, I wouldn't be in business, right? So I know it's that important. I own a hair product line, Neurotrust Products. I own a hair clinic, have owned a salon for over 25 years. So I know how important it is. I have benefited from hair being just that important to women. But we pick and choose where we want to fight, right? We pick and choose where we want to fight. So we need to go back to our salons and we need to make sure that we are getting what we're paying for. We need to stop these stylists in their tracks. If I walk in and it smells like weed, then I'm turning away, right? And so also it requires us to plan. I know your hair is on your head and I know things are last minute, but it requires for us to plan. Unfortunately, during this time, we will have to plan. In the days of old, like I said, people would come in, and it wasn't like I haven't had experiences where people came in and we had some not so good experiences, you know, at our salons. At that time, if your hair is on your head, you need your hair done, you're going to sit in the weed, you get your hair done, then don't go back, period. So take that experience, and from then on, find your next salon that you find, you go and make sure you interview them.
But that's what I want to speak to, because I do want to kind of address something. We can't ignore that something significant has changed since 10 years ago. So When I met you 10 years ago, right? That was in Atlanta during my time in Atlanta. And I think actually Atlanta is one of the few places that I feel like is probably still very much like this, where there are salons everywhere. Like
Correct.
there are a lot of hair salons in
There are.
Atlanta. However, in other places that I have lived, that is not exactly the case. Like I feel like in ATL, I probably could drive around and spot, oh, okay, let me walk in. I could see your hair clinic. I could pass by and say, let me walk in. There's a receptionist at the door. All of those grand things that we were accustomed to having back in the day in the 90s, early 2000s, right? However, when I moved to LA, that was not the case. I did not drive around and just see a bunch of salons, and not black hair salons. The only salons that I would see driving around were a bunch of salons that service white women or Latina. So I would end up going to Dominican salons and stuff. You can see those around, but black hair salons, I did not see a lot of that in LA. What I experienced of a lot of LA, most people go to someone's house. Um, and that's what I experienced. Now, y'all, I would love later, down, you guys can write us and give your feedback of maybe what your experiences have been. But most people that I knew went to someone's house. Let me give you even an example. When I first arrived to LA, I was working at a pretty prestigious studio. I was working at a big studio, and I saw another Black girl there, and I said, "Oh my gosh, where did you get your hair done?" And she said, "Oh, I go to this girl named so-and-so." Now, this is a girl that works with me. This ain't nobody that I just saw walking down the street. This is someone that works with me. She's a pretty professional person. So I'm like, okay, cool. I go to this girl. It is in her house. It's, it ain't no necessarily nice house or neighborhood really, but we became friends. I really enjoyed getting my hair service. I had been going to her a while. I'm telling you, Deshawn, I would walk into this apartment sometimes and there would be celebrities sitting there. People that you and I both know getting their hair done in this person's house, right? So that's a standard. The one time that I did get pretty fed up where I was like, I'm not going to do the house thing or whatever. I'm going to go to a salon. I went to a salon. The girl was like 2 hours late. She said she was in traffic, all of this, whatever. But she really was an anomaly because most people her age or so forth did not have Black hair salons. So that's regionally, just me talking about my situation in LA. Most stylists, I will say, either do hair in their home because rent is very high in LA. I'm sure it's probably triple what it is in Atlanta. So the ability to get a salon is probably a lot more complicated economically than getting in Atlanta. But then also, I wonder, and I don't know this for a fact, I wonder if stylists are choosing to do hair from home, one, because of the cost of having a salon, but then two, a lot of people in LA really kind of moonlight. Like the girl that I told you about that was first doing my hair, she really had a career in being a performer. She was a professional singer. So she was performing. So, hair was kind of a moonlighting thing for her. And then another stylist that I was going to, very lovely. She could do my hair like no one else. She was doing my hair in her home. But then when she wasn't doing hair in her home, she was traveling to the celebrities. They would pay her to come to their home. So I just said that long spiel just to say the days, I know you're like, well, the onus is on us that we're looking on Instagram and we're not calling a phone number. A lot of these places, and it's bad. I know you're gonna get me for this, but they're not answering a phone. Did you make a deposit?
If they don't answer
I'm not talking to you until you make a deposit.
But listen, if they don't answer the phone, then don't go there. You know what? So let me start here. The first
there is no phone number.
Then next, right? Next page, right? The next Instagram page that you can find. Let me just start here. First of all, I think I take it serious because I did change careers as we talked about. And so going to cosmetology school and getting your license through the state that you are living in, first of all, I want to say it's not easy. I remember going into beauty school and thinking like, wow, I just really wanted to do hair. I don't want to learn about the bones of the face, the bones of the neck, primary, tertiary, secondary colors. So first of all, let me say that the program is rigorous, or at least my program was rigorous. So you're not sitting with a bunch of dummies, right? You're talking about people who actually have a skill set that they acquire through the state board in their state. So let's say number one. Now, how they decided to translate that into a business is different. I'll start by saying this. Most people don't have an experience with a bad salon. They have an experience with a bad independent hairstylist. You have people who what they call booth rent, right? So you have a person who rents a booth in a salon. That's another thing that's a problem. Either you want to have a relationship with a stylist, and I know in the Black community, that's standard. We have relationships with independent people. The salon that I own now, you don't have a relationship with an independent person. You have a relationship with a salon that has a hierarchy, that has a front desk, that has a salon manager, that has a team leader, that has shampoo assistants. Now, I know
See, but that's probably a whole nother episode.
Listen,
but most stylists are not even making that amount of money, Deshaun, to have the beautiful setup that you have with the receptionist, the call and the voicemail setup, being served coffee when you walk in.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's get into it. We have to, as customers, you want these high standards from us, but you don't want to pay for them. It's 2024. Customers still want to come in and live on the days of a shampoo and style when it was $35. Or if they pay $55, if they pay $75, if they pay $85, they want it to be all inclusive. I can't shampoo, silk press, steam hydration, keep your hair healthy, twist it up, flip it up, wrap it up. I can't do all of that for $85 in 2024. And that is the reason why most hairstylists,
I completely agree.
Why most hairstylists are overbooked, because they're scared to raise their prices because they feel like the clients won't pay. So what they'll do is keep their prices the same and then overbook. Because if I need to make where I live, if I need to in 2024, I'll go back. I opened my salon in 1996. My shampoo and style probably in 1996 was like $35, $40. Fast forward, I went all the way up through the ranks, and now at our salon it's like $85. But that $85 is for a basic shampoo and style. That's not even a silk press, because now we've gone from wearing relaxers to now wearing our hair natural, which requires more product, requires more arm muscle, requires a different type of blow dry than my old silver bird. Now I need to have this $650 Dyson, to make sure that I get your hair.
Do y'all use Marcel's anymore? Sorry,
no,
just maybe
we don't. Listen, Marcel, listen, all of that.
I know.
But it's all of that. I think I'm glad you said that. It's all of that. We have to keep ourselves up to date. We have to go and get continuing education hours. Those of us who are professional, those of us who have a license, let's start there. Are you going to a salon? We're talking about bad stylists, but a lot of stylists you're talking about don't even have a license. Just because they're in a salon, it doesn't mean that they have a license. Hair salons have gotten so desperate to fill chairs that they will put someone in their chair, allow them to pay rent, and perform services just because they can to make money. And they know that the state board doesn't have the capacity to send their representatives out to the salons the way they used to. Now, they just came to my salon last year here in Georgia, and they fined me because there was a missing top on the basket where we house our towels, because they're really strict, like it's supposed to have a top on it. It was just off of that day. I don't know what happened. But I said all that to say is that that's far few and in between nowadays. So a lot of booth rental salons are accepting rent. So the first thing we need to do is to make sure that the service provider who is providing a service to you has a license, and then you need to physically see it. State board says it should be on the wall or on their station. That's the first thing we should look for.
Can we go back? I hear you, but can we go back a beat where you said that you don't, from your perspective, that stylists are not making the money that they should be because they're afraid to raise their prices, right? From my vantage point, at least from the type of hairstyles I was getting over the last, 5 years or so, most stylists, because before I have locks, and part of the reason, let me be honest, that I went to have my hair, I have permanent locks in my hair. The reason why I decided to permanently lock my hair is really just wanting more time back to myself and being stressed out with the salon experience. Obviously, I still do have to go to the salon to get my hair retwisted and treated, but now I don't have to go as often as I used to go. And a lot of this mess that's happening contributed to this decision right here. But on average, like when I was getting my hair, when I was getting faux locks or braids and stuff like that, especially in LA, on average, those hairstyles were $350 and up. And so I don't feel like a shampoo shouldn't have been included with that, or that's too cheap for a shampoo to be included in. I think from a time perspective, it's two things. One, if you are doing hair in your house, which I'm not knocking anybody. I don't want to shame anybody for doing hair in their house. I know Deshaun has another thing. And I'm only thinking of that because I know very specific people that I have went to their house for years, and they did a great job on my hair. But they don't want your hair being washed in their sink. That's their home where they eat. So that's one. But number two, getting away from that and back into like where I live now. I moved out of LA, and where I live now, most of what I see are salon suites, and they do have the ability to wash your hair. But I think what's happening is they want what am I trying to say? Quantity. So they want to do $400 a head, and it takes time away if you got to wash and blow dry my hair and all of that. So that's what I think that they're doing.
Listen, I think that I'm glad that we're having this conversation, because it's clearly a conversation that needs to be had, because I am in the belief the only way we can heal as a culture is if we have the conversation. Back to the stylist who is not charging enough. She is not charging enough because clients have told her, you don't know the number of times as a stylist where somebody wrote me a check and said, can you cash it later? That was back when we were taking checks. The number of times that clients came in to get their hair done and say, you know what, I don't have enough money, let me go to the ATM, and never came back, right? And so then now I'm in a bad situation because this is happening. So I think the set of rules that are being put in place by stylists is because they have been left holding their blow dryer, their towel, and their cape in their hand without getting paid. And customers know they have done that. And so it's unfortunate because now I have to say, give me a deposit. Why are we taking deposits? We're taking deposits now because you book an appointment. I block off my book for 2 hours for you, and you don't show up. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Especially if I don't live around the corner.
I get that. And see, I take my appointments religiously. You know how I've been about my hair. I don't think I've ever in life had a hair appointment that I did not show up, that I was MIA for. The only time I can remember in the last 5 years that I did not show up for a hair appointment, and this was when I was in California, there literally had been like a fire, like a huge fire that had all the highways blocked up and stuff, and she would not refund my deposit nor transfer it. And I was very upset about that. Yeah, you agree with that?
No, I don't agree.
It was a natural disaster.
I don't agree if it's a fire, but I think that the appointments, this is not the only appointment. The hair salon is not the only person that requires a deposit before you come to an appointment. We go into doctor's offices all day. I think that there is many expectations on both sides that need to be heard. What we need to do is have a form, like a crown form, and we bring in customers on the right-hand side and stylists on the left-hand side so we can air out our feelings, because I think that is what is missing. Bad behavior from clients and bad behavior from stylists. And now we're left years later in the middle battling with each other, saying like, I ain't going to a salon, I'm gonna go to somebody's house. Number one, I don't knock anybody from doing hair in their house, because I did. But what I did was I had a salon in my house with a shampoo bowl. If you are going to do that, then go ahead and do it legitimately. There are many reasons why people do that, because it's kids or whatever, or it's more friendly, or maybe because it's cost effective to be at home. But then go ahead and do it right. As a culture, we have to stop hooding everything. If I'm gonna have a salon in my house, go ahead and get the license. They do have certain you can get a business license for a salon at your house in certain areas. You have to go down to the, your county office and find out if it's allowed to do so. The reason why you still have to have a license to perform these services. And when you're bringing people in and you're doing their hair, you're putting their head in the bowl, you're using color, chemicals, or whatever, you are responsible for that person's head. This is your life. You know, it's an extension of your health. So from the home stylist, that's my concern. On the other side, from the customers, customers have to stop trying to control a stylist chair. That is the only reason why my salon is the way that it is now. This is what I have witnessed, I have noticed, I have experienced, that stylists are reluctant to speak up, or have been in the past, have been reluctant to
That's a
speak
thing
up.
of the past,
Right. In the
not
past,
these new stylists.
right, because they're tired. That's why. That's what I'm saying. They have
But
been,
I did want to make a
to speak up.
point. But
Well, let me finish. They have been reluctant to speak up about pricing of services, because if I get finished with your hair and then I say you got a cut, a color, a silk press, and then I say it's $400. How much is that? When you start charging that, you know, and then you don't know. Unfortunately, some stylists are not equipped to know how to answer because they don't feel confident enough in their ability. So then they do what I call let customers run their chair, you know. And so there are some rules. I know we're not going to all lay it down in this show, but there are some rules that we have to follow. The first thing, you need to find out how much does a service cost before you get there. Why are we going in blindly in 2024, 2023, 2024?
But see, I think you're talking about two different sides of the coin, because those are not my experiences. The stylist that I have went to for braids or locks in the last 5 years of getting my hair done before I permanently got my hair locked, they got the prices listed out there. I mean, they have like 1,000 rules. Like, honestly, I don't think until recently.
Why are the rules? The question, the
because, and that's what I want to comment on, because I think they're dealing with a lot of the general public, which tells me that they don't have a lot of repeat customers. So that's why they have all of these. You can't do this. You can't do that. It's like your first time. And I think a lot of the deposits are in place. I get what you're saying, because I own my own business. I'm not a salon owner, but I do understand that time is money. And if you booked off, you know, from 12 to 2, expecting to get a certain amount of money, and then I'm a call, no call, no show. I get why you have a deposit.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a major problem.
But at the same time, when you have a customer like me, okay, so what's the solution, right? You got a customer like me that's been coming to you for the last 6 months consistently. I tip you, I come on time, I book my appointment. Where's the trust coming in that I'm going to come to my appointment? And I pay my deposit. I'm not even really here about taking away the deposits. I think what really bothers me is just the long list of rules, because I tend to go into my appointments for like first time appointments like text, like good God, like I gotta, you know.
And I, you know what, and at NeuroTrust Salon and Hair Clinic, you know, we don't have those type of rules. We do, the only rule we really have is a deposit, and that if you're going to be 15 minutes late, we ask that you call at the 15-minute point. If you're going to be 30 minutes late, you may have to reschedule. Not you have to, but you may, depending on how the book looks. Those are the only rules that we, you know, that we have. So the reason why I really, after you've been pulling me to do this, the reason why I wanted to have this is because I know that I am not the norm, but I feel like I can be the example. But I think the problem is that, as you stated earlier, as you started off, is that social media has given a platform to those who are either not licensed or who are professional. And that what we have to do is that we have to, as customers, hold the stylist accountable. Many times I have said to you, if you were my customer, or if you came to my salon, I'm not going to even say my customer, I'm going to say my salon, because I'm very strict with my stylist. You know, there is a level of hierarchy. If you had a problem with the stylist in the salon, you can come to me and talk to me. So there is a hierarchy. You know, they can get their pay can get docked, right? So they actually work. It is a difference, because they have somebody to answer to. A lot of these stylists have no one to answer to. But by definition, as I have said, the boss, and I teach for years, as you know, I've taught thousands of stylists at Bronner Brothers shows, premier hair shows. You know, I am a leader in the beauty industry that they seek me out to come and teach stylists. And I've spent my life's work trying to teach them. And there's those who get it and there's those who want, because there are those who just really see it as a hustle and there are those who really see it as a business. And so it is up to us to find those who see it as a real business, to understand that I got to be to work on time, right? I need to be there before my customer get there, unless it's an extenuating, unless there's a circumstance that won't allow me to get there on time. And if so, I'm communicating with my customer the whole way that I want a repeat customer. I can't build my business on the Instagram fame, because that's just a one-off. And so that's the reason why I have the long list of rules, because I no longer have built a business. I'm just doing hair. And so a customer like you, who I know is going to come on time, who I know is going to pay her a deposit, because the truth of the matter, Ashley, is that the clients that we have serviced or that we service on a repeat basis we have a relationship with each other. It's kind of like your doctor or your dentist. You have a relationship. So when you have a relationship with someone, of course, if it's a fire, I'm not going to keep your deposit. I'll say, okay, we'll just roll it over until the next visit, because we have a relationship. And what we're experiencing now is that we have a bunch of people who don't have relationships with customers, and it's almost like a flea market mentality. I'm just in to get my hair done today and I'm out. But we have to get back to making sure we follow the basics. Number one, making sure that the person is licensed. Number two, take responsibility. If you don't have an address, go to the next Instagram page, right? Call somebody who you admire at work and ask them the questions. Is it at the house? You know, I've had instances. I haven't done hair in my house maybe since, like you said, Moonlight, my days when I was a computer programmer and was doing hair on the side. And then when I left to make it a full-fledged business, I haven't done that. But I have had customers to come into our salon. When you're a new customer at our salon, each independent operator that works for me, they have to sign a non-compete and non-solicitation, which means that if you came to my salon today and I assigned you to one of my staff members because you found me online, my staff member know that they cannot call you on your phone. They can't hit you up on social media. They can't hit you up on your cell phone to say anything. Why? Because I'm responsible for your information, right? You found Nuratress Salon and Hair Clinic to come to. It becomes muggy waters when you just like, okay, now I'm up in here, coming in here. Okay, y'all gave me my coffee. You know, I have a shampoo assistant. I have a front desk, all of which you got to pay for now, right? Because all of those are part of the business. And then afterwards, you're just like, you know what? Let me come over to your house. How much you gonna charge me if I come to the house? Or vice versa, if the stylist say, you know what? Just start coming to my house on the weekend. That's a problem. That's when I'm going to take you to court. And that's when we start getting in muddy waters, because it comes down to money. It comes down to the relationship that you have. But I always tell my staff, remember, we are not friends with our customers. We are friendly. That's a difference.
Well, shoot, these stylists today ain't friendly, or they ain't friends, but we'll get into that into future episodes. There were two things that I wanted to touch on. One that you said, going back to, you know, there are some people that, you know, because of circumstances or the economy, they do have to do hair at their house, but there is a way to do it. I completely agree with that, because I had a stylist like that actually back in LA. So she was the salon owner. And she had a shop way in Compton, which was way far away from where I live. And I went to her shop maybe once, and then I said, I want to keep coming to you, but do you have another location or whatever? And she said, well, actually, I live near you. And so she said, you can come to my house, you know, sometimes for appointments, because she was never going to see me again if I had to keep going to her. But she did actually get one of those, you've probably seen it before, like a portable sink.
Oh, yeah.
And it was
that connects to your regular sink.
It connected like to something outside, to her hose, something that her husband had connected. But yeah, where she was able to, where she wasn't washing my hair in her kitchen sink, but she basically had turned her living room into her at home salon, or she had like an extra room in the front. She turned that into a salon. So one, I do want to encourage people that there is a way to do it, like where you can wash people's hair. And I don't understand, to be honest, I'm not a stylist, but I don't wouldn't want to put my hands in anybody's head that I haven't washed first.
But
Why are
you know,
stylists so comfortable with people coming and they haven't washed their hair?
again, look and find out if the person is licensed. You know what? I'm going to start, I'm going to tell everyone who's listening that if you go to a salon and the person is requiring you to come with your hair already shampooed and they have a license on the wall, I'm going to tell you to take a picture of that license and report them to state board, because according to state board rules and regulations, every person that comes into a salon, we have to shampoo their hair because we're responsible. Because if I have your hair already shampooed, I don't know what you did to your hair. So I don't know if you did some type of chemical service the night before and didn't really rinse it out. And so then now I'm in here styling it. And after I put my hands in it, I'm the professional. I have the license, because people's license can be revoked, right?
Yeah,
but we never
like in anything else, a doctor can.
But you know what?
Anything else.
We don't, in the Black community, because our cousin has the ability to style hair and Deshaun can do hair as well, they think we are the same, and we are not the same. And so that is a problem. I do have a license. I do have certain requirements where Kitty Boo don't. Right? Kitty Boo can just do it in her kitchen and just, I pay taxes. Kitty Boo not. Kitty Boo getting food stamps. Kitty Boo getting that money on the side and buying her baby some Pampers, where I have to pay taxes, the IRS, I have an accountant, I have all of these. I have a bookkeeper. So I have all of these requirements that I have to follow. And so that is the problem. Are you running a business or just doing hair? And so ask yourself the question the next time you walk into anybody's house, living room, kitchen, or salon, find out, is it a true business? And I think because we can do it at home, it has become devalued. The Black stylist, the Black salon experience has become devalued, because I will say, and I'm sure you're the same, I would never go to a dentist in their house to get my teeth done.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying I had a dentist who actually bought a house and changed it into a dentist office, but it was a business. Not talking about that. But I'm not going into anybody's living room getting a pap smear. But that's not going to happen. It's just not. It is just not going to happen. There are certain things I'm not going to do. And so I'll say this as we begin to wrap up this episode, that we have the customers to blame and we have the clients to blame. The clients want professional service, professional atmosphere, but don't want to pay the money. You said something about a front desk. It costs money to have a front desk. Trust me, I know. I have two, and they're hourly. I have 2 shampoo assistants. It costs money. They're hourly. I'm not paying them like the ghetto way, $5 a head. They're hourly. So now I have 4 hourly employees in the building, including the staff. Right? So that costs money. So no, your shampoo is not going to be $45.50. Yes, your hair color, if you're getting platinum blonding, may be $800. It's not going to be $200. I don't know why we think that we want our hair platinum or we want color and it's $200. It is not that. Those days are over. The products cost money. The skill set costs money. The liability insurance I have costs money. The cable I have, the music I'm playing, everything.
The music. Well, hopefully, and I'm sure, obviously, I know a NeuroTrust hair clinic is professional music. It ain't a bunch of cursing and swearing. That's a whole nother thing with atmosphere.
But listen, right, that's a whole other thing. But we pay for a professional music service, and we can choose an R&B or hip hop rap station, and it doesn't cost because we're paying for the commercial music license, right? Whereas if you walk into a salon that is playing otherwise, technically, we don't even want to talk about that. That's illegal, from BMI ASCAP, that. But that we can go into a whole list of things. But I just want to say that I'm glad we had the conversation, that both sides of the coins need to come together and talk about what we need to do to get it right, because there's some stylists who need to get it right. And if you walk in the door and they don't have it right, turn around and walk away. And I'll say to the stylist, if you have a customer who is like Ashley, who pays her deposit, who's going to come when she says she's going to come, remember, you're building a business. You're not just getting a fly-by-night. I don't want to say fly-by-night customer. I'm not saying that because that's wrong, because I want all clients. If you come to me one time, I appreciate you. I think that any client that comes through the door, we need to serve them 100%. If you only come to me once a year, my goal at the end of my service is to make sure you come back 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, a quarter, or even next year, or whenever you decide to get your hair done, that you think of my place of business as a place to service you. That's my goal at the end of the day.
Well, yes, and I know that personally. Neurotrust hair clinic is like it just feels peaceful to be in there.
But we don't go without having our issues because we have staff there that has concerns. And so people have seen it on TikTok. I've, approached stylists coming late. And it's not like I haven't been late before. I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm perfect, but I need to at least get an A. I tell my staff, at least get an A. And the A at this point even is 90%. So at least give me 90% of being on time for my clients, and meaning the other 10% are just circumstances that are out of my control, accident on the highway, things
Weather,
like that.
Things
so
like that.
just give our clients an A. But as we work to give our clients an A, I'm going to ask our customers to work to give your best to your stylist as well.
Well, in this segment of our show, we go from the hairnet to the internet. Let's check out something on the internet that Deshawn and I just could not stop talking about. And it pretty much pertains and sums up what we've been talking about in this whole episode. Check it out.
Main Talk. If we had old school clients who showed up to appointments that they booked, we wouldn't even charge deposits. Like, it really could be so simple. If y'all become old school clients again, we could become old school hairstylists again. I literally have like 12 clients on my roster who don't even know what my booking site looks like. Why? Because they're old school clients. So they're literally like 50 and up. And if they text me telling me they want to come get their hair did on Wednesday at 12, I know for a fact they coming Wednesday at 12. So I don't make them pay me a deposit because I know I'm going to see you. You're not going to waste my time. You're going to be on time. Like, there are so many factors into what has changed the whole entire beauty industry. And it's like, the clients are not taking accountability for their actions. Even in my last viral video, everybody was making excuses on why they do no call, no shows. But now y'all still surprised as to why we charge deposits. Y'all doing no call, no shows and mad that we charging deposits?
Well, one thing I hope that we do bring back is old school attitudes.
Listen,
attitudes
that's one thing we can agree. Listen, that's one thing we can agree on, and that's something I'm sure we'll talk about in a later episode. Is the demographic? She stated her clients that are 50 years and up. She know that they're coming is those who are less than 50 years.
Don't put me in that category. Don't put me in that category. I'm an 80s baby, and I show up to my appointment on time.
Listen, and guess what? And that's fair. At the end of the day, let's just get it right, y'all. Let's just get it right. Let's not fight, because the truth of the matter is we do live in a day of DIY. And a part of that actually is that we can buy our products and do our hair at home. But just like going to the dentist, we get up in the morning to brush our teeth every day, but we still need to get out of our house and go to a dentist. This is how we live our best hair life. This is how we eradicate hair thinning, hair shedding, hair breakage, and hair loss. Because at some point, you got to get out your house and come and see a board certified licensed cosmetologist, such as myself. And there you have it.
There you have it. Well, thanks for joining. And Deshawn, you want to close out?
Listen, drop your comments below. We want to hear from you. We want to hear how you feel. What are your salon experiences? What do you feel about our comments today? Hey, drop your comments below and then join us on the next episode of Main Talk.
And also, too, guys, it doesn't matter how you choose to wear your hair. Just make sure whatever way you wear your hair, you can hold your head up high and wear your crown.
Exactly. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Main Talk. Let's talk about hair. It's not your average conversation.